If you're a business owner, living in the UK is starting to make less and less sense, from taxes to cost of living and just the weather. Now more than ever, leaving the UK looks like the right thing to do, especially if you run a business that is remote. So I want to talk to you about why I'm going to be spending a lot less time here and more time overseas. Essentially, banking in Dubai, living in Thailand and earning British pounds. Is this strategy 100% perfect? No, but it's what's going to work for me. And I wanted to make this video to kind of share my thought process with you guys. So what's the reasons behind this? First things first is the taxes. Now, the UK, you pretty much can't do anything without spending money. I literally just drove to East London the other day. I live in Kent, and just to go through the Blackwall Tunnel and come back, that cost me £8. Parking my car, another £5 to £10. Petrol, everything is just becoming ridiculously expensive that if you live anywhere around the capital, it's almost pointless. Like, it's almost designed in a way to make you not have things. I'm not saying we shouldn't pay our way, but it's getting to the point now where people just don't have the amount of disposable income that they used to, and things are just going up, up, and up. Doesn't make sense for you and me to just stay here and continue to go through this. And as a people, we tend to complain for a little while, but we never do anything. So for me, I'm actually doing something about it. Corporation tax is on the rise, and I don't see it ever going back down. And on top of that, the non-dom tax has been completely revamped, which basically means if your tax status, if you're not a tax resident of the UK and you're abroad, you was able to get away with not paying tax, but now you have to, basically. I simplified it. It's a bit more technical than that. And what that non-dom tax means is basically, if you want to try and live abroad and not pay tax, you kind of have to be a bit smarter with it. And I'll read some stuff here just so you can understand it. The non-dom regime formed part of the UK's tax system for over 200 years where the conditions were met. It enabled UK resident individuals whose permanent home was outside the UK to benefit from the remittance basis, effectively exempting their foreign income and gains from UK taxation unless remitted to the UK. It also offered protection from inheritance tax on their non-UK cited assets. Under the Labour government, the non-dom regime was abolished in 2024, and it's been effective since the 6th of April 2025. So essentially, the money that you're making abroad can be taxed. You're liable to being taxed, even if your permanent residence is not in the UK. So as far as I'm concerned, that is putting you in a difficult position. And I'll read a little bit more for you to understand. From the 6th of April, the protection from taxation on income and gains within settler interested trust structures is removed for those who do not qualify for the 4-year FIG regime. FIG arising in these settlements is taxed on the UK resident settler transferor on an arising basis. So, obviously there's still ways to get around this, and I'm not an expert, but I'm just trying to lay down the foundations of like the difficulty of, tax. And if we're looking at income tax and all these things, now, if you are going to leave the UK, it makes the most sense to do so. And then we look at national insurance. If you are a business owner and you have staff members, it can be difficult. Now, I know I'm talking about going to Dubai and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, this won't work if you don't have a somewhat remote business. There are different structures and we have people we can refer people to for this, but it's something that a lot of people are doing. And even if you're not making millions or whatever, like it's something to look into. It's a structure to look into. So, by the time you pay all these taxes and you pay all these fees and the cost of living is continuing to increase, you have to start to look at like, what am I actually left with? And, how is it going to benefit me? And what are the profits? And how can I still have the life that I want to live? I have the life that maybe our grandparents lived, even though we might feel like we're in a more prosperous time. In some ways, we're not, because we have less income that's disposable. And this is, I think the whole world is feeling it, but in the UK specifically, in a country that is not ran very well, it doesn't feel like it's being run very well. It's becoming even more kind of obvious, without making this political, because this is not a political channel. It's just about business, money, AI, automations, marketing. But this is a part of business, so I'm happy to kind of discuss it. You do all this work, and I see a lot of business owners working damn hard. People that own restaurants, they own pubs, they own cafes, they own gyms, they own shops, they run online stores, online businesses. You work so hard, and they're just taking most of it away from you without really you seeing the benefits, because I'm not personally seeing the benefits of everything that I'm putting into the system. Now, if we compare it to a place like Dubai, where the tax is a lot lower, and in some cases it's pretty much zero if you're not earning over a certain amount in profit, like, I get Dubai has its own issues. Yes, there are some shoddy work conditions for some people. However, I've spent a lot of time in Dubai, and I can understand why people make it their base. And for me, although I'm not quite ready to make it my base, it is a place that I know that I could stay for long extended periods of the year. So for me, my ideal scenario is to spend quarter of my year here, quarter of my year in Dubai, another quarter in Thailand, then another quarter somewhere else that I just want to go to just for the time being. So um, it's now about planning that and what is the structure and what does that look like. The benefit when you think about Dubai compared to the UK is that obviously in Dubai, you don't pay tax. Like you literally don't pay tax. And if you earn over a certain amount, I think it's about 9%, which is great because you get to keep majority of your money. All right, cost of living is high in Dubai as well, but you actually get what you pay for, and the society is great. Like you go to the hospital in Dubai, you get looked after. You know, you can literally go anywhere, you get looked after. The services are great, customer service is amazing, and you really, really get what you pay for. On top of that, the weather's amazing, and that good weather, I think people don't understand how effective that is. Like when you wake up and the sun's beaming and everything just looks and feels good, like that does have a positive effect on you as an individual. And I think some of us kind of overlook the power of like the weather and how much it can affect you when it's crap versus when it's good, which is not very good here very often. And one thing about the UK, sometimes it just feels like you're paying more money to just live the same life. Like I've been, to be honest, over the last 2 years, I've spent more, but I'm living the same type of life. And it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense as a homeowner, as a business owner, to continue to go down that cycle, you know? And for me, when you go abroad, even when you go to places like Thailand, obviously your money stretches further. And listen, every country you go to has its pros and cons. It's about finding the best place for you, especially as a successful business owner. And ultimately, it's not just about like luxury, it's about value, because we spend all this money but we don't quite get the same amount of value. In the UK, you know, you're getting bled dry for just parking fines and parking tickets. You know, you're getting rinsed just to drive your car. You can't even drive your vehicle anywhere. And then on top of that, our actual government don't even abide by the rules. You guys have seen the recent news about Angela Rayner and her avoiding stamp duty. These are people that already have money, sitting in positions of power, whilst us small business owners and medium-sized business owners are doing things by the book. We're getting leased for it, and we're not actually using the loopholes that the government are actually giving to us. So, you know, it's crazy. And there's actually a report that she's even getting 17 grand as a severance package, which is absolutely crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. So let me continue here as I get my points. So the other thing that I did mention was the weather, right? So the weather, energy, and motivation. So for me, you know, waking up to grey skies 8 months out of the year is it's not fun. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm motivated. I'm always motivated. I wake up, I do my work, I do what I need to do, and I feel blessed and privileged to be able to do what I do. And I work for myself. I wake up, I get to have a little tea or a coffee, sit down in my garden and get to work, hop in the office like I'm at, you know. I've worked hard to get this or what I have, but for me, it's just, especially around the winter time, and you know, anyone that's in Britain, you guys know the weather's pretty crap from about, once it hits October till about March, the weather's pretty depressing. So that's October, November, December, January, February, March. So at least 6 months is pretty bad. April and May, it's just, it can get sunny, but it's pretty wet. And then you got June and July and August where it's half decent. And I mean half decent. It will rain and the skies will still be grey. No one can tell me that the weather doesn't affect your mood, and it definitely does. I never used to believe in the seasonal depression until the last two winters is the first time I ever like really, really felt it. Just like the constant darkness. And I need to be motivated. I need to wake up energized. And I think that for me, moving abroad is definitely going to help my energy. I spent 6 weeks in Thailand and I know that that was the best I felt in a very, very long time. So for me, I know that this is not going to be my long-term place, and I've already put the structures in place to achieve more and kind of get out of here. So that's really what my main focus is over the next couple of months, is putting myself in a position where, you know, we bank in Dubai, live in Thailand, and we earn British pounds. The next thing is the British culture. Like, British people, we do things differently here. The first thing is, I lived in America for 4 years, right? And American people, they're very brash, they're very loud, they're very unapologetically themselves, and they believe in themselves. They're not afraid to chase that dream. Everyone talks about the American dream. Like, they're not afraid to kind of go for it. You know, business owners, high achieving, aspirational. And it's not all about money, by the way, because I'm not super materialistic, but I just want to have a good life. I want to have an enjoyable life. And I think that, you know, being in the UK, A lot of people are guarded. A lot of people will support you until you overtake them. Um, we don't have like a great networking culture, and we have a lot of gatekeepers where, people kind of keep things to themselves. When you go abroad, especially when you go to a place like Dubai, everyone's networking, everyone's giving away their secrets, because ultimately there's enough for everyone to eat. That's how I see it. There's enough for everyone to succeed, which is why it's weird. Like, when you meet British people who are in Dubai, their mentality is more open. They're the ones that are more willing to kind of share things, and they're not afraid to kind of share what they've seen or what they've been through, and give you some game and give you some tips and tricks on how you can improve your business. And that's why I really, really value my time when I go to Dubai and I spend weeks in Dubai. For me, it's like, why is it that something about Dubai where networking is so different? Mainly because the type of people that move to Dubai. But I do think there's something in the water here that keeps people in a negative mind state. I don't know if it's the government. I don't know if it's the news cycle, and all the negative press that just seems to be like drilling fear into human beings all the time. But there is something about that I think does affect people. And ultimately, especially when you're in Dubai, there is just a energy of abundance. And this is not a video to say Dubai is better than England, but for the structure of owning and running a business, it probably is. It probably is. And in Dubai, the last time I went to Dubai, like, I met 2 millionaires in just 1 week. Things like that don't really happen here in the UK, and people aren't hosting as many networking and community events. And I think one of the other reasons is, obviously, there's not enough wealth circulating, right? And in England as well, there is, people talk about the differences between like racism and stuff, but in England, it's not about race. It's more about like class. So it's more of a classist kind of country. And those special elite type of events are just for the top of the top. And if you know someone who knows someone, you can get in there. But I think networking culture is so different here that we don't really get the opportunity to sit around some of these people. You kind of have to force your way in. You got paid to get in. In Dubai, there's free events, there's paid events, but there's always events as well. Like, there's consistent events. In the UK, I think another thing that adds to it is the bad weather. So people aren't sitting outside, having meals by a yacht, or, on the beachside having networking events and talking business. Like in Dubai, I think just because of the weather, you kind of get opportunity to do that as well. And sometimes in the UK, it's very transactional. Whereas when you go to a place like Dubai, it can be very relational. It's based on the relations that you have with people, and that's where the power is. That's where the power is made, in my opinion. And it's not just about who you meet; it's also about how easy it is to meet them. The last real thing is just the general environment, safety, and daily life. Now, I grew up in Southeast London, Lewisham to be exact. You can Google the crime statistics in a place like Lewisham Borough. The truth is, you go to Dubai, you know you're going to be safe. No one ain't stabbing you, robbing you. You can wear your nice watch. You can wear jewelry, whatever it is that you're into. I'm not into that stuff, but if that's what you're into, even some of the biggest business owners that we've spoken to have had like attempts on their life in London. I remember we went to an office of one of our clients and they spoke about how someone tried to steal their watch. Like, these things happen in the UK, and it happens way too common. The crime's just getting worse. Stabbings are getting worse. Robberies are getting worse. I've had loads of stories of friends' cars getting broken into. My own car window got smashed one time. Like, these are things that happen in London, where it's like, because there's so much inequality, there's so much poverty, like, people are struggling, and it kind of manifests itself in the way people behave. So, you kind of know that when you go to a place like Dubai, you don't have to worry about that. You can leave your car door open and no one ain't going to take your car. And that's also because they're very strict on crime, unlike the UK where you just get a slap on the wrist. I spent 6 weeks in Thailand, and just like in Dubai, I was never worried about crime. Obviously, crime exists across all different countries, but in Thailand, everyone's happy, weather's good. And I was in Chiang Mai, where there's a big digital nomad sort of community, so I was able to run my business and not worry about crime. And I'm not worried about crime here, but I know that there's less crime. When I go into London, I know what time it is. I know how things are in London, so I'm always prepared. Whereas in Dubai, in Thailand, you don't even think about it. It's just like, and again, that affects your energy. And a lot of life is all about energy for me. It's just about energy, energy, energy. So what's the actual plan here? We're already incorporated in Dubai. We've been actually incorporated for the last 2 years. This year, we're going full steam, and we will be doing things properly. I'm spending a majority of the time in Dubai and in Thailand, and probably a little bit of Africa, while our banking and our business setup is in Dubai, and all our sales are going to be, rooted in Dubai. and we'll come back to the UK to see our family. Well, that's what I'll be doing, because ultimately that's the only reason I'm still here. You know, I've got family and friends, and it's important for me to obviously maintain those relationships. And I've got nieces and nephews that I'm very, very close to, and you know, to get up and just leave them fully is tough, but I want to make sure that I'm available for them. And you know, they can see their uncle, but I don't have any long-term plans of staying in the UK. When I think about the next 5 to 10 years, being in the UK is not really on my to-do list, unfortunately. I would love to know any other business owners, if you've made that jump to Dubai or Thailand, or like if you bank in Dubai or you bank in another place. I know a lot of people move to Portugal. A lot of people bank in all these different regions. What are some of the places that you guys look at banking? What are other countries that you have residency, and how you operate your business? And you know, even if you don't have a remote business that operates online, how are you managing this? Because I've met people that have businesses where their business is incorporated in the States, but they live and they're European, but they live in Dubai. I've seen so many different setups, so I'm always intrigued to hear about how other business owners are working. But that's just a little kind of rant. This is completely different to what we usually talk about, but I want to get this out there. Peace.